Echoes of the carnival. The traveling carnival set up on the outskirts of the small town was a mesmerizing spectacle of lights and sounds. Strange and wondrous attractions beckoned visitors with promises of thrills and chills. Ariana, a thrill seeker with a love for excitement and mystery, couldn't resist its allure. Her cautious boyfriend, Leo, accompanied her, his skepticism growing with every unusual sight. As they wandered through the carnival, they encountered the ringmaster, a charismatic yet sinister figure who controlled the carnival. His presence added an unsettling layer to the vibrant chaos around them. Ariana was captivated by the strange performers and bizarre sideshows, while Leo remained wary, sensing something amiss beneath the carnival's enchanting facade. The carnival's charm was undeniable, but an undercurrent of dread lingered in the air, hinting at the dark secrets it held. As Ariana and Leo explored the carnival, an unsettling atmosphere began to envelop them. They noticed visitors and workers alike moving with a vacant, entranced look in their eyes, as if under some strange spell. This behavior unsettled Leo, while Ariana brushed it off as part of the carnival's charm. Their curiosity led them to the central tent, where the enigmatic ringmaster hosted nightly shows. These performances were mesmerizing, leaving the audience spellbound. Yet an undercurrent of unease lingered. The acts were breathtakingly bizarre, and the ringmaster's commanding presence only amplified the tension. Despite the thrill, Leo couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. One evening, as they wandered near the performers' tents, Ariana and Leo overheard a hushed conversation between two of the carnival's workers. The whispers spoke of a dark secret. The ringmaster had made a pact with a demon to harvest the souls of carnival goers to gain power and immortality. The shocking revelation sent chills down their spines. Leo's skepticism turned into fear, while Ariana's thrill-seeking nature was tempered by the gravity of what they had uncovered. Determined to uncover the truth, they decided to investigate further, keeping a watchful eye on the ringmaster and his nightly shows. The carnival's enchanting facade began to crack, revealing a sinister reality beneath. The vibrant attractions and mesmerizing performances now held a terrifying significance, as Ariana and Leo realized they might be in far more danger than they had imagined. The night after uncovering the carnival's dark secret, Ariana and Leo decided it was time to leave. But as they made their way toward the exit, a disorienting fog seemed to rise from the ground, twisting the paths and obscuring the way. No matter which direction they turned, they ended up back in the heart of the carnival. It was as if the carnival itself was alive, trapping them within its boundaries. Panic set in as they realized they were unable to escape. Suddenly, the ringmaster appeared before them, his charismatic veneer melting away to reveal his true form, a terrifying demon with glowing eyes and twisted features. His malevolent gaze fixed on Ariana, his next intended victim. The carnival's cheerful lights dimmed, casting long, eerie shadows as he advanced toward them. Desperation gripped Ariana and Leo. They knew they had to find a way to disrupt the ringmaster's demonic hold over the carnival to break free. Remembering the whispers they had overheard, they realized that the trapped souls were the key. If they could release them, the ringmaster's power might be weakened. They frantically searched for clues, their minds racing against time. They recalled an old book of spells they had seen in the fortune teller's tent. Believing it held the answers, they raced there, dodging otherworldly obstacles and avoiding the ringmaster's minions. In the fortune teller's tent, they found the book and discovered a ritual to release the trapped souls. Armed with this knowledge, they prepared for a final confrontation with the demon. The fate of their souls, and those of the other victims, hung in the balance as they braced themselves for the ultimate battle against the sinister ringmaster. In a desperate final showdown, Ariana and Leo confronted the ringmaster in the heart of the carnival. Using their wits and the knowledge from the spellbook, they began the ritual to disrupt the demon's pact. The ringmaster's dark powers clashed with their resolve, casting eerie shadows and flickering lights as the battle intensified. As they chanted the incantation, a sudden surge of energy disrupted the demonic pact, weakening the ringmaster's control over the carnival. The ground trembled, and the trapped souls began to emerge, their ethereal forms breaking free from the cursed attractions. With the pact broken, the carnival started to collapse in on itself. Ariana and Leo narrowly escaped, sprinting through the crumbling tents and twisted rides. They emerged shaken but victorious, the sinister carnival disintegrating behind them. The small town was freed from the malevolent spectacle, and the echoes of the carnival faded into memory, leaving only whispers of its dark past. The Midnight Radio. In the small, isolated town of Hollow Creek, the local radio station was a lifeline during the quiet, eerie hours of midnight. Cooper, the late-night radio DJ, relished the solitude and the chance to connect with his nocturnal listeners. One night, a mysterious caller named Mara dialed in, her voice dripping with unsettling knowledge of the town's secrets. Meanwhile, Detective Roy, a sharp and determined local detective, was deep into his investigation of a series of recent disappearances. The stage was set for a chilling encounter that would unravel the town's darkest truths. One night, as the clock struck midnight, Cooper received a call from Mara. Her voice was calm but carried an eerie undertone as she began to tell chilling stories about people in the town. Each story was unsettlingly detailed, describing individuals who had recently disappeared under mysterious circumstances. At first, Cooper thought it was a strange coincidence, but as Mara continued to call in, the tales grew more disturbing and personal. Mara's stories revealed hidden sins and dark secrets of the town's residents, things only someone with intimate knowledge could know. Cooper's initial curiosity turned into unease. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. As the calls persisted, Cooper noticed an alarming pattern. Every person Mara described had recently vanished. The realization hit him hard. These weren't just stories. They were accounts of real events happening in real time. The connection between Mara's calls and the disappearances became unmistakable. Cooper's mind raced as he pieced together the clues. The townspeople's dark secrets, the eerie midnight calls, and the missing individuals all pointed to a sinister truth. The growing dread in Cooper's heart was undeniable. He was entangled in something far more dangerous than he could have ever imagined. The midnight radio show had become a conduit for a malevolent force, and Cooper knew he had to find out who or what Mara really was. As Cooper dug deeper into the stories Mara shared, he stumbled upon an ancient legend about a vengeful spirit that punished sinners by trapping their souls. The pieces fell into place. Mara wasn't just a mysterious caller. She was a supernatural being delivering twisted justice. The disappearances were her doing, retribution for the dark secrets harbored by the town's residents. One night, determined to confront her, Cooper challenged Mara on air. His voice trembled as he demanded to know her true identity. Mara's response was chillingly calm. She revealed that she was indeed a spirit bound by vengeance, and that she had been using the radio waves to exact her punishment. Then, with a sinister delight, she disclosed that Cooper was her next target. She knew of his hidden sin, a dark secret he had buried deep. As the confrontation unfolded live on air, Detective Roy, who had been meticulously following the broadcasts, listened with growing alarm. Realizing the immediate danger Cooper was in, he grabbed his keys and rushed to the radio station. The gravity of the situation was clear. Mara's supernatural vendetta had taken a deadly turn. Roy sped through the quiet streets, desperate to reach Cooper before it was too late. The detective's heart pounded as he raced against time, hoping to save the DJ from becoming the latest victim of Mara's ruthless justice. The radio station's glowing sign came into view, but Roy knew the hardest part was still ahead. Detective Roy burst into the radio station, his heart pounding. He found Cooper's lifeless body, brutalized and marked by Mara's twisted justice. The supernatural entity's presence lingered, her vengeance complete. The town was left in shock, its dark secrets exposed to the cold light of truth. Determined, Roy vowed to uncover more about Mara and end her reign of terror. As the radio station fell silent, the small town grappled with its haunting past, and Roy prepared for the battle against the malevolent force that had shattered their peace. The Whispering Woods. The Whispering Woods was a dense, eerie forest that loomed on the outskirts of a quiet town, its thick canopy casting perpetual shadows. Local legends spoke of unsettling occurrences and mysterious disappearances, lending an ominous atmosphere to the forest. Despite the warnings, Phoebe, an avid hiker and nature enthusiast, was eager to explore its hidden trails. She was captivated by the forest's beauty and mystery, eager for the adventure it promised. Her friend Braden, however, was skeptical. He dismissed the local legends as mere superstition, more focused on enjoying the camping trip and the natural scenery. For him, the tales of whispers and vanishing people were just stories to scare tourists. As they prepared for their adventure, they encountered Elder Miriam, a local hermit with a profound knowledge of the forest's dark history. Her warnings about the woods were grave and insistent, but Braden brushed them off, convinced there was nothing to fear. Phoebe, though slightly unnerved, remained determined to explore the Whispering Woods, unaware of the true horrors that awaited them. As Phoebe and Braden set up camp in the heart of the Whispering Woods, an uneasy stillness enveloped them. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that danced in the flickering light of their campfire. Soon, faint whispers began to drift through the trees, barely audible at first. Phoebe paused, listening intently, but Braden laughed it off, attributing the sounds to the wind and their overactive imaginations. As the night deepened, the whispers grew louder and more insistent, carrying an eerie quality that sent shivers down Phoebe's spine. Fleeting shadows flitted between the trees, just beyond the reach of their firelight. Braden, though still skeptical, couldn't ignore the growing sense of unease. The forest seemed to be closing in on them, the whispers urging them to venture deeper. Unable to shake the feeling that something was very wrong, Phoebe and Braden decided to investigate. As they moved through the dense underbrush, the whispers seemed to guide them, pulling them further into the forest. Their unease turned to fear as they stumbled upon a familiar figure, Elder Miriam. Elder Miriam's expression was grave as she warned them about the haunted spirits trapped in the woods. She explained that these restless souls were victims of the forest, forever tormented and seeking new victims to share their fate. Her words were chilling, painting a grim picture of those who had vanished without a trace. Despite her warnings, Braden's skepticism remained, though it was now tinged with apprehension. Phoebe, however, felt the weight of Miriam's words, realizing the danger they were in. The forest's whispers grew louder, almost frantic, as if sensing their awareness. The true horror of the Whispering Woods began to unfold, leaving Phoebe and Braden to question if they would be the next to disappear. Elder Miriam's face was etched with worry as she urgently revealed the forest's dark secrets to Phoebe and Braden. "The only way to escape the spirit's grasp," she warned, "is to stay on the marked paths. Those who veer off are lost forever, their souls trapped in a cycle of torment." She recounted harrowing stories of hikers and explorers who had ignored the warnings, vanishing without a trace, their whispers joining the haunting chorus that now filled the woods. Despite Miriam's grave warning, Braden had already begun to fall under the spirit's influence. His eyes took on a vacant, distant look, and he started to act strangely, muttering to himself and wandering away from the campsite. Phoebe watched in horror as Braden, seemingly in a trance, was drawn deeper into the forest by an unseen force. Phoebe's heart pounded with fear and determination. She couldn't lose Braden to the Whispering Woods. Mustering all her courage, she set out to navigate the forest's supernatural traps. The whispers grew louder, more persistent, and the shadows more menacing, each step a battle against the malevolent forces trying to claim them both. With every step deeper into the forest, the path became more treacherous. Roots seemed to rise to trip her, and branches clawed at her clothes, as if the forest itself were alive and trying to ensnare her. Phoebe ignored the ghostly figures that appeared at the edge of her vision, focusing solely on Braden's fading form ahead. Desperate, Phoebe shouted Braden's name, her voice breaking through the cacophony of whispers. But Braden was unresponsive, moving with a mechanical precision towards an unknown destination. She knew she had to reach him before the spirits fully claimed him. Pushing through her fear, Phoebe continued her struggle, determined to save her friend from the forest's clutches and escape the ever-encroaching darkness. Phoebe's breath came in ragged gasps as she fought through the forest's supernatural dangers to rescue Braden. Using her wits and the knowledge imparted by Elder Miriam, she desperately tried to keep them both on the marked paths. The whispers grew deafening, and the shadows reached out with unseen hands, but Phoebe pressed on, determined to save her friend. As dawn's first light filtered through the dense canopy, Phoebe caught up to Braden. She grabbed his arm, pulling him back towards the marked trail. The forest seemed to resist, branches snapping and shadows writhing in protest. Finally, they emerged from the heart of the woods, exhausted but together. In the pale morning light, Phoebe glanced at her hands and froze. Her skin had turned ghostly, a pallor that wasn't there before. She realized with dawning horror that they had already become part of the forest's spirits. The realization struck her like a blow. Despite all her efforts, they were now bound to the Whispering Woods, trapped in the same cycle of torment as those before them. Phoebe looked at Braden, his expression mirroring her own dread. The forest's whispers continued, an eternal siren call luring new victims into its depths. As the sun rose higher, Phoebe understood their fate. They were now permanent residents of the Whispering Woods, their spirits forever entwined with the eerie, haunted forest. The woods, alive with malevolent intent, would continue its dark legacy, claiming souls and weaving their whispers into its haunted song. The haunting of Berryman House. Nestled in the serene countryside, Berryman House stood slightly larger than average, exuding a quaint charm with its ivy-covered walls and sprawling gardens. The isolation of the property only added to its allure, promising a peaceful retreat from the bustle of city life. Callie, a young woman brimming with excitement, couldn't wait to start her new life in this idyllic setting. She envisioned cozy evenings by the fireplace and sunny mornings in the garden. Her husband, Axel, was practical and skeptical, focused on the logistics of their move and settling into the house. Unbeknownst to them, Lady Berryman, the house's previous owner, lingered within its walls. Her spirit, a silent guardian of the house, watched the new occupants with a mixture of curiosity and unresolved sorrow. The stage was set for a chilling encounter that would soon disrupt their dreams of a tranquil new beginning. Shortly after moving into Berryman House, Callie began to notice strange occurrences. Initially subtle, they were easy to dismiss. Cold spots in certain rooms and the faint sound of whispers that seemed to follow her. She occasionally caught fleeting glimpses of a ghostly woman in the corner of her eye, but when she turned to look, the figure was always gone. Callie shared her experiences with Axel, hoping he would understand her growing unease. However, Axel remained skeptical. He attributed her concerns to the stress of the move and the adjustments to their new home. "It's just an old house," he reassured her. "There's bound to be drafts and creaky floors." But the hauntings intensified. What began as whispers turned into clear, disembodied voices calling her name. Objects started moving on their own. Books flew off shelves, and picture frames crashed to the floor. Doors that were securely closed would slam shut with a force that shook the walls. Callie could feel an oppressive presence constantly watching her, filling her with dread. Axel continued to dismiss her fears, rationalizing each incident. He insisted there must be logical explanations, like faulty wiring or the house settling. Callie, however, knew deep down that something was terribly wrong. The hauntings specifically targeted her, as if the spirit had a personal vendetta. Nights became unbearable as she lay awake, listening to the relentless whispers and feeling the weight of unseen eyes. The once charming Berryman house now felt like a prison, each room a potential trap set by the vengeful spirit of Lady Berryman. As the terror escalated, Callie realized she needed to uncover the truth behind the hauntings before the entity's wrath consumed her entirely. Determined to understand the sinister forces at play, Callie delved into the history of Berryman House. She spent hours at the local library and online, piecing together the dark past of the property. It was then she uncovered the tragic story of Lady Berryman, the house's previous owner. Lady Berryman had been brutally murdered in the house many years ago, and her spirit was now trapped, seeking revenge for the injustice done to her. As Callie sifted through old photographs and records, she stumbled upon a chilling revelation. Axel bore an uncanny resemblance to Lady Berryman's murderer, who was an ancestor of his. The resemblance was so striking that it became clear why the ghostly presence targeted him. Lady Berryman's spirit believed Axel was the reincarnation of her killer, returned to the scene of his crime. Armed with this new knowledge, Callie urgently tried to convince Axel of the hauntings' reality and the danger they were in. She shared the details of her research, showing him the photos and historical documents. But Axel remained skeptical, attributing her findings to coincidences and her imagination running wild due to stress. As the hauntings escalated to a terrifying level, Axel's skepticism began to waver. One night, he experienced the full fury of Lady Berryman's wrath. Objects flew violently across the room, and the temperature plummeted, leaving him breathless and shivering. The oppressive presence that Callie had felt for weeks now bore down on him with an undeniable force. Seeing Axel's terror, Callie seized the moment to make him understand the severity of their situation. She pleaded with him to accept the truth and help her find a way to appease Lady Berryman's spirit. With Axel finally convinced of the hauntings' reality, they knew they had to act swiftly to save themselves from the vengeful ghost's relentless pursuit. In a final, terrifying confrontation, Lady Berryman's spirit unleashed her full wrath upon Axel. The room filled with an icy chill as objects flew violently, and a ghostly apparition materialized, her face twisted in rage. Axel, paralyzed with fear, could do nothing as the spirit attacked, determined to exact her revenge. Callie, desperate to save her husband, threw herself between Axel and the vengeful ghost, pleading for mercy. But Lady Berryman was relentless, her fury unstoppable. In a horrifying moment, the ghostly figure enveloped Axel, draining the life from him. As Axel's lifeless body fell to the floor, a sudden clarity overcame Lady Berryman. She realized too late that Axel was not her murderer but an innocent man. The tragic realization that she had killed an innocent soul caused her spirit further torment. The pain and guilt of her mistake weighed heavily on her, adding to her eternal suffering. Grieving and traumatized, Callie left Berryman House, unable to bear the weight of the horrors she had witnessed. The once charming home now stood as a monument to tragedy and vengeance gone wrong. Lady Berryman's spirit remained trapped within the house, haunted by the guilt of her actions and the eternal pain of her misguided vengeance. The whispers in Berryman House continued, a constant reminder of the sorrow and torment that lingered within its walls.